You are listening to the Gritty Podcast, where we talk about all things gritty. Welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I am your host, Brian Call. I'm joined by Brad Hunt here to my left, and today's guest is Sam Davis. I met Sam Davis at the Western Hunting Summit last year that Ryan and Hillary Lampers put on through Stealthy Hunter. He and Brian Barney and myself sat down for an early morning, like 5, 6 a.m. podcast on the mountain. Yep. We had a great discussion. If you did not listen to that podcast or watch it, go back and check it out. It's one of my favorites I've done in the last year or so. And I got to know Sam there. He's shooting his bow, and he was a phenomenal shooter. I got to meet his wife and his kid, and I loved it. I love the guy. He's an inspiring guy. He's a positive guy. And on this podcast, he talks about some pretty cool hunts. He kills a buffalo with his bow.
Killer year.
He kills a great buck, mule deer buck, one that didn't quite go the way he planned, but it's just a story of persistence. You don't want to miss this show. And if you don't follow Sam, you should. He's just an incredible hunter.
Just a consistency.
Just a good guy as well. So the sort of guy I want people to know, meet, hang out, get to be familiar with. And some of the content that he is featured in is through Stone Glacier as well. So if you go and check out the Stone Glacier YouTube channel, you can find a mule deer hunt.
Yeah, he's got a couple hunts on there, I believe. A couple mule deer hunts, and there may be others as well.
You see Sam in action with his bow on a hunt with Stone, and then then he told us on this podcast he's going to have some more hunts. I think the buffalo hunt might be coming out.
I believe so. I think so.
Through Stone Glacier's YouTube channel. So great work over there. Love what Stone is doing on their content. Always enjoy their films. So check all that out. Hope you enjoy today's show. Don't forget that right now we have a big giveaway going on, and you can win an Initial Ascent backpack, a pair of crispy boots, sheep feed orthotics, trekking poles, gaiters, and headlamp from Peaks. All of that stuff you can win right now just by buying a Gritty hat or a Gritty shirt or Gritty sweatshirt, Gritty water bottle. Just go to thegrittystore.com. Every $10 you spend gets you an entry to win, and we're going to pick those winners this Sunday, March 12th. Well, actually, the giveaway is going to end this Sunday, March 12th at midnight. We'll pick the winners a day or two after that. So look for that. Get in on that. And then right now, Stealthy Hunter. Ryan and Hillary have put together a prize package over there as well, big hunt package. You can get an entry to the Western Hunting Summit, the same summit that we met Sam at. I'll be there. Ryan and Hillary, you can get an entry for that and a $500 gift card through Go Hunt.
The gear shop, and then you also have the the lifetime membership for the Insider, and then a PSE bow, day 6 arrows, day 6 broadheads. Sweet little package.
Nice package that Ryan and Hillary have put together. So nice incentive. I mean, when you use the code GRITTY over at Stealthy Hunter, you're going to get a discount. You can get yourself a glossing plaid, rifle cover, some of the supplements as well. I recommend the gut health packages. I recommend all their CBD oil products. I like their electrolytes. Those are a must-have. The sleep gummies are excellent.
And my new favorite as of probably the last 2 months is the bone broth, the bone broth protein.
I like powder. The vanilla bone broth protein powder. It's super clean. It's the best protein I've had. I mix it with a banana, some peanut butter. We talked about that on some shows. It's all excellent stuff. Go check out Stealthy Hunter. When you shop, you use the code GRITTY. You're going to save. You get some killer products. You help Ryan and Hillary keep going, and you'll be entered to win that package. Just do that shopping before midnight on this Sunday, March 12th, and then we'll pick that winner a couple days after that. Look for the announcement for the winners on our YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in, and enjoy today's show with Sam Davis. All right, folks, welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I got Brad Hunt with me. Sam.
What's up, guys?
You're back.
I'm back.
We first met at Ryan's Western Hunting Summit and had a great time. And I got to know you there, learn about your Wyoming background and how you grew up. And we haven't spoken much at all since then. I want to hear about your season. And for people who don't know you, the first time hearing, tell us a little bit, 30,000-foot view, who you are.
All right, I'm a Wyoming born and raised guy. Grew up living outdoors. Dad was a guide and outfitter. So I've been in the outdoors my whole life. Hunting. I'm married, got a wife and a gorgeous little girl, a 5-year-old, and we live outdoors. I mean, that's like that's our life. I mean, if you live in the mountain country, it's kind of what you do. I've been bow hunting. This was my 23rd. I'm 38 years old. This was my 23rd season or 24th season bow hunting. Now, that's all I've done, and I live for it. Like, it's family first, and then bow hunting is how I always describe it. And that's what we do.
You and your you have a crew that hits the gym, holds each other accountable, stays fit, and also once you guys break out and start going after the big game, there's shame and mockery for the failure for those who fail, and then there's praise for those who don't. There's a little pressure.
I run with a pretty good crew of guys. There's about 5 of us that we've all grown up together. We all started. I mean, I started bow hunting a little bit earlier than maybe like 1 or 2 of them, but we've all got into the game within. I mean, we've all been like 20 seasons now between 5 guys.
That's crazy.
And we all played athletics together, and so we went from sports to bow hunting to. I mean, and we don't take bow hunting lightly. And luckily, I mean, where we live, I'm pretty blessed. Yeah. And so we've all had 5, 6, 7 tags a year every year. So. Yeah, we pack out a lot of stuff and have a lot of fun chasing stuff and swapping stories. And, it's a competition. It's competition between us. We don't hold anybody. It's just us. You know how it is. If you grow up with guys.
Yeah. I know. I'm in this competition right now with Ryan Lampers because, he's the guy I hunt with the most. Of course, I'm in one with Brad, but Brad's losing as of late.
I still got bigger deer than Brian,
but
so that's all that
doesn't count. Doesn't count. You grew up in Idaho. No. The competition, I think, is good, and I've been saying lately we need to bring back shame. Anyone that's underperforming, we need to shame them. Yep. It makes you better.
Yeah, pushes you.
Pushes you, exactly.
And so
and we're all competitive. Like Ryan, he is. Everybody knows that. Brian, myself, like it's fun being competitive.
Yeah, I saw it at the hunting summit. Like that's where I got to see. Like I didn't realize how serious the archery course was. I mean, it's everybody's. You get Brian Barney in there. You get Lampers. You get you guys. Like everybody's like wondering what scores were by the end.
We are buckling down on the archery thing. When I come back to the Western Hunting Summit this time, I want to be in the top echelon. I'd like to knock Brian off the pedestal.
Well, I'm pretty sure Sam beat Brian.
You
Barney,
did, didn't you?
So.
That's right. That's right.
That was cool because it was my first time I got invited by Lampers up there and. To beat Brian Barney and beat Ryan Lampers in 2-day shoots. It was, I don't know, I'm not like one to brag, but I guess it was kind of cool because those guys, they're shooters, man. They shoot. They're deadly with a bow. So
it's fun to be around too. You know?
Well, and it was quite apparent right away. You've spent some time shooting a bow.
I'm at a long time now. I've shot a bow forever.
Well, and you went through a lot of you've done a lot of 3D and a lot of competitions and so on. Put yourself in the mix. And
when I was a kid, I traveled all over and shot bow.
One of my favorite stories is your Cam Haines story.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. I think you might have talked about it on the first podcast you're on, but for those that haven't heard it, I want to hear it again.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess if I started bow hunting, it was like got a bow. It had been like 1999, and I don't know how it all played out when Cam was at the editor of Eastman's, but I know in that time period back 99, 2000, 2001 was in his time when he was at Eastman's, and so I knew about Cam Haines. I read his articles before he was what he is now, and so as a little guy, I looked up to him hugely. And that being said, got into bow hunting. The first deer I killed was a high country deer at about 10,000 feet with my bow. I was 15 years old, so kind of a dream hunt, but I didn't really think it was a dream hunt. It's just what we did as kids. I got dropped off on the mountain by my mom. My cousin met us a day later, me and him, and I was able to stick a deer. Mom picked me up 3 days later. With that being said, I'd listen to Cam here. I'd watch Cam Haines. I read his articles, all this stuff. I'd watched his hunts. And when all that happened, fast forward to 2008, so now I've bow hunted for like 8 years I've been bow hunting now. I can tell you, it was August 31st. Wyoming opens on September 1st. I get a phone call, and it's an Oregon number on my phone. And I don't think much of it. I answer the phone, hello, and I'm 20-whatever years old. I'm still a young guy. And it's like, hey, is this Sam Davis? I was like, yes, sir. And he goes, this is Wayne Endicott. I own the bow rack in Springfield, Oregon. And I'm like, right away, I'm putting it all together because it's like there's no social media, so it's not out there like this. Yeah. So I'm like, I've heard of Wayne, and I've heard of the bow rack. And in my mind, I'm thinking this. He's like, tells me about an elk tag that he had drawn. He'd got my number from someone. I'm not quite sure still to this day who he got my number from. I'm 22 years old or whatever, and so I tell him everything I know, tell him all the drainages, everything that I would do, and right at the end of the conversation, I said, hey, I was like, if that Cam Hanes guy's ever in that shop, tell him he's got a big fan that lives in Wyoming. And he goes, hey, he's in the shooting his bow right now. And he goes, you want to talk to him? And so Wayne hands the phone to Cam. Cam goes, hey, man, what's up? It was real short. It wasn't a deep. Told him I was a fan, and he had a fan in Wyoming, and that's kind of how it went. So that was huge. I mean, I hang up the phone from that. No kidding, September 3rd, 4 days later, I killed at that time, and I mean, he's still the second biggest bull I've ever killed. I got real lucky and smashed a big bull in the mountains a couple days later with my bow. And so yeah, that's my first run-in with Cam, and it's kind of neat now that social media is amped up and stuff. And I don't have a big following or anything, but just he's found me, I guess, and I've messaged him, and we've kept in contact a little bit. And I've told that story to him, and I don't know if he vaguely remembers it or not, but he's a cool guy, man. It's just been neat. Before all the glitz and glam and fame, Cam was a guy I looked up to for the last 25 years and knew him before a lot of people did, and he's a stud. And so, yeah, that's my brush with Cam Hanes' story.
Have you checked out his new show yet?
No, I haven't checked that. So that came out this came out like Monday, right?
Yeah,
this week has been chaos, and I haven't checked it out.
Yeah,
I haven't checked it out yet.
I caught them all on some drives I was on and stuff, and
watching TV while you were driving, nice.
Well, you know,
when you got trips from here to Mexico,
I got you.
And they're good. It's kind of fun because he's got this show where he does an interview, like the typical hour interview or whatever.
Yeah.
A couple hours where you sit and have a conversation face to face. But he has this lift, run, shoot session that's about a 10 or 20-minute video that Brandon Shockey and others are helping produce, right? So it's really good. And they show up, and he's got guys like they go and they run a marathon. 20 miles, 26 miles.
Chandler. Go hike Pisgah.
Chandler ran 26 miles. He actually ran a marathon. Yep. I think he said the longest he'd ever run before that was like 10 miles. Yeah. So he does 26 miles because why not? Because Cam challenges him to. Yeah. Then he did the lifting, and then they shot bows and all that or whatever order it was in. And there's just little videos of these things.
Nice.
And that are kind of go with the podcast drop. And it's cool. People, some of these guests, I asked Rihanna today, I'm like, because she's helping with the show.
Yeah.
Rihanna, like some guests are going to be like, I don't want to be on Cam's show if I have to run a marathon. What if I can't do it?
Right.
But she's like, no, he wants to challenge people within like some limits,
like within their boundaries.
Yeah, within their boundaries. He doesn't want them to leave like feeling like, less than and not everybody is at that level physically per se. But it's just neat though because he had Rich Froning.
Yeah. So I've seen some of the posts, right? So I have seen the gal that has the pink hair, the WWE, whatever that gal. Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
And they haven't dropped yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I love to see that he's bringing this whole like best bow hunter goal, to just be fit and an excellent person, excellent bow hunter to the world.
It's neat to see.
Yeah, like you can do that. Mm-hmm. You can just be a badass bow hunter for and that's a thing.
Cam makes it look easy.
You can strive for.
Cam makes it look easy.
Yeah, anyway, that's neat. I have a question. As this season has gone through, every year we have successes, we have failures, we have stuff that works out, stuff that doesn't.
Yeah.
Can you share with us a disappointment that you had that kind of now is new feather in the cap because we all learn from these failures?
That's funny you asked that question. This year it was going smooth. Had a really good season. Started off, I was lucky, drew a once-in-a-lifetime bison tag in Wyoming, which is hard to draw. Got lucky and hit the draw. So I started off the season once-in-a-lifetime bison tag. Chose to hunt it early, which a lot of guys don't. Killed a bull in August with my bow. Then the season came on. Antelope was good. Had an awesome hunt with my daughter. Into elk season. Killed a good bull. Up came mule deer. I went into a spot where I'd scouted a little bit that summer. I'd found a couple bucks that I didn't have a lot of time to scout that summer. It was busy. But I went in one day and scouted, and I wanted to go back. Anyways, I roll into this spot, catch these bucks, and they're on a knob that's out. It's high elevation, and the way to get around them, it's your typical, there was no easy way around. It was 2.5 hours, losing sight of them for over an hour to get on the backside. So you have that up in the air question, are they still going to be there when I get there thing. Caught them mid-afternoon, but I was encroaching right in on that like 5 p.m. by the time I got in there. So I thought they might be up and moving. Sure enough, worked my way in there. The wind was the way I thought it was. Got to them, had a stiff breeze hitting me, probably like a 8 to 12 mile an hour breeze. Hit me right in the face, so it was good. As I rolled up over this peak, I was by myself. I rolled up on the edge. I catch my number 2 buck, I would say. Really nice 5x5, big sticker coming off one side. Have him at 26 yards. And he has no idea I'm there. He's up feeding now, and he's actually worked further down than where they had been bedded, about 15 yards. So as I roll up, I see him, and he was number 2 buck. There was like 9 bucks bedded up in this pocket and timber and some brush. And as I'm looking at him, I'm just scanning my eyes around, and I catch the antler tips of my number 1 buck, the buck that I went over there for. And I'm having to wait for the buck, number 2 buck, to do his thing, and he kind of just feeds. All he does is put his head behind a sagebrush and pivots his body quartering away from me, and I just take a half step up with him and clear inside at 26 yards, and I just step up, and when I pop over, the target buck that I'm wanting is standing broadside feeding because he was over a rise. So when I step up, I've exposed his body. I can't see his legs, but I can see everything in his body.
Yeah, vitals are
exposed. Nothing in the way. He's facing left, head down. I come to full draw. It's a further shot, but it's not a far shot. I mean, it's like 55 yards. It's right in that range of I feel very effective at 55 yards. Right. Pretty steep downhill angle. But I felt confident, really confident. I'm standing, not kneeling. Draw back. I settle.
Is it windy?
It's a little bit windy. But I'm watching him. He's on the other side of this roll of the hill. Where I was on this deer at 26 yards, there's a little divide where they can't see each other. It's that big of a knob, but I've taken one step and I can expose both of them, right? It's that high of a peak I'm sitting on.
Okay.
So when I get there, I'm watching the grass through my rangefinder, and I don't see as much grass moving down there. I'm thinking 5 to 10 miles. Like, I don't think it's going to affect my arrow. Come to full draw, I put it right tight. I'm a tight to the shoulder guy, tight to the shoulder, and I release that arrow. And I watched that arrow fly and hit not where I was aiming. I hit him about 6 inches up front, so I hit him in front of the scapula. I went right in front, so I catch him right at the base of the neck. Perfect height, and that arrow blows clean through him. This is the bow hunting truth right here.
Well, and you're shooting heavy arrows, Sam. Because you use your same setup for your buffalo.
No, I changed up. Yeah, so I had the PSE,
Gotcha.
so I had the Mach 34. So I shot the PSE Omen is what I used on my buffalo, and that was a 540 grain arrow.
Gotcha.
My normal setup's 465 grains, and that's what I was shooting at that Mach 34. But it's 80-pound bow, 30.5-inch draw. They're like 328 feet per second.
Jeez.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so that arrow, it blows all the way through him, and right away, I mean, it's just an instant. Oh no, like it was not good. I'm on such a high peak though. The buck just he staggers. It knocks him down, and he staggers and goes forward. This is the truth about bow hunting. It staggers him, and he goes forward and he goes around. But all I know is I need to back up and I can get around. I'm gonna get another arrow, and because I'm on the highest point. Deer likes me, and he doesn't know what happened. So I work around, I slide around, get to the backside of the knob, and I catch him. He's coming around the bottom. Well, now it's second arrow time. This is what we practice those second arrow for, because sometimes that first shot is not what it was. So I do practice out to 100 yards. And he comes around the corner. He's at 75 yards, and he's walking slowly, and I can see blood coming out of the front of him. This is the truth about bow hunting. You asked me, what did I learn? Feather my cap story. 75, I dial, I shoot, I catch a branch. I kind of hustled the shot, but all I did is I catch a branch right at him, and it glances over his back. Now he spooks. With that spook, this turned into this is where you want to talk about being fit. Like everything that you do that goes in your bow, and from your practice to being fit, everybody says you don't have to be fit. This is one time that being in good condition, I'm not the fittest guy in the mountain, but I take care of myself, and I can cover some country. I went back, got my boots fast, and I'm still highest elevation. Deer bails down this canyon, and he's going away from me. It's pretty open country, timber on the sides, but I'm watching him. He's going down. Well, now he's bumped there's a pile of does in there, and he's got a herd of deer running with him. So the adrenaline now is peaked. I'm watching him probably cover 1,600 yards. He's probably hit the mile mark. By the time I get my boots on, I got my boots back on, packs on, I'm jogging. I'm jogging off this big divide. I'm at a dead run. It's going down. As soon as I hit the bottom, I kind of have to ease up because they're going up out of the next basin. I'm on his tail, and I follow him. Now we've hit, I don't know mileage. I'm on X that day. That day was like 19 miles.
Yeah.
So I was in there quite a ways. I stay on him, get all the way to the top. The buck's bedded. To make a long story short, I get him bedded. I kept when I would try to get an angle on him to get another arrow in him, it's working on evening, so I got time is against me as far as darkness. he's hit non-vitally, but it's hurt him. So I need to kill this deer. There's no like, I'm not like, oops, it's not vital, I'm gonna leave thing.
Yeah.
He's hit hard. The arrow blew clean through him. I kept bumping does when I was trying to make that last approach, and so he keeps getting up with adrenaline and moving, getting up with adrenaline. I just could not get an angle with the wind right, the sun at my back, like things weren't working. And I keep just playing this cat and mouse game for the next hour and a half, hour or 2 hours. Finally, we hit a spot where he disappears into a draw below me. Now by the time now it's 7:40. Darkness is coming. So I get to the top of a ridge where I can see all below me, and I just have to hit the pin. I go down to where I last saw him bed, hit the pin on my Onyx, and I bail out of there. And guys, that was a hard decision. I didn't want to camp right now. I didn't have any water right where I was there. I had to go back a long ways. Yeah. I ditched my pack at one point, and I'm in socks chasing him for a long ways because I'd gotten so close.
Right.
And then I was just gone. So then I'm gathering up my boots, go back to get my pack, and I'm talking over a mile probably in socks, blew through my socks. I'm just running in my bare feet. And anyways, get that gathered back up. I'm discouraged. Like, this is one where you can't test your mind for that. Like, the last
sick.
Yeah, the last thing I want to do is wound something. Long story short, I go to sleep, go back in there the next morning, go right to where I lost him on his bed, and just the way the geographics laid out. And I think that's where hunting a long time, and growing up, hunting, guiding hunters, seeing wounded critters, kind of knowing the lay of the land and kind of knowing what this deer might do. He wanted to bed down. He wanted to stiffen up. But those does, like that adrenaline kept picking him up. Yep. So anyways, the next morning I find him. And he's bedded probably 400 yards from where I lost him. He's bedded up in the sagebrush right at the edge of the timber. And he's just bedded tight. And
how early is it still?
So now I was there at daylight. I was there at sunup, say at 6:15, it's September. Yep. I was there probably 6:15. I'm glassing right at daylight. I find him at 9 o'clock. It took me 3 hours to work this, 2 hours and 45 minutes to glass this basin over. So I've now shot him 12, 14 hours prior. And
what gave him away when you put eyes on him?
He was just bedded, tucked up. Nothing gave him away. Just a feature in the land. And I had to keep moving around that basin because there were so many different cuts. Yeah. And there was getting to where I was on the edge of the timber. I thought he was going to go timber. I'm just like, lucky as could be. Yeah. And I finally caught him, and I was exposed to him. But he was so, kind of tired. Yeah. He didn't, hone in on me. I was probably 180 yards from him when I first saw him. Same thing. This happens to me again. I need to work around him, get above him. I work around him, get above him. I'm easing in. I'm probably 70 yards above him. Can't see him, but I know does across the canyon see me stand up, and they just single file out of this canyon. I'm like, pretty soon, here he comes. And he's about halfway in between them and I at 300. And he hits what I call, I've seen animals do a death walk. And he hits this death walk, and he starts walking. And he's at a pace of me, I can cover something, me striding out as hard as I can stride out. And he's in front of me, and he starts walking. And if you want on X, I can pull out the tracks. We death walk I walked 2.6 miles following this deer. We'd go over an open ridge, and he wasn't stopping. He'd walk right through a patch of brush or timber, and then keep going, falls into this next. I go over a big ridge. He walks down a huge ridge line, cuts, drops down a big finger ridge, and I'm working every time he disappears out of my sight, I'm sprinting up to catch an angle, get him. I can see saddles. He's going path of least resistance. He's catching beef cow trails. He's doing everything that a wounded deer would do. 2.5 miles, 2.7 miles. Pretty soon he hits a spot where he gets out of my sight in this canyon, but it's a big dogleg canyon. Instead of dropping in, and I'm like, I'm going to take the chance, and I get on the ridgeline above, and I hoof it. I strap bow to my back, and I'm at a full jog now, 1.5 miles around. I know it's a really long-winded story, but this is where persistence. 11:30 that morning, where that canyon dogleg back around, I worked my way back in, and there was 2 fingers that came down that were timbered. And I pretty much I knew he was tired, and so was I. I pretty much just bluntly bird dogged those ridges, got down the first finger, got all the way to where, and I'm looking at deer beds as I'm working my way down. I'm not just bluntly walking, but I'm I'm kind of sneaky, kind of not, because I have it's a spot where the cuts are tight. It's 70 yards shot across these draws, 2 of them, and it's if I bump him, he's so tired, he's going to come up something. I feel like I'm going to have a shot. Don't get him on the first one. Go up, start working my way up the second finger. As I'm working up, I look down in a bed right below me in some brush under some big green trees, and there he is bedded, and he's just looking at me, and I didn't even range. Come to full draw, 35 yards, and I hammer him. It goes right through his shoulders. He stands up, acts like he's been hit by a freight train, runs 100 yards, stops, staggers, flips over backwards. It's 11:30, 11:45 the next morning, and that deer, I'm 7 miles from where I originally hit this buck. from the first day chasing him, second day chasing him, following him. And I sat down. I'm not gonna lie, there was tears coming down. Like, nobody was there. It's by myself. My wife, I was able to get a hold of her the night before, tell her kind of the situation. But I've been fortunate enough to kill a lot of stuff with my bow. Lots and lots of animals, lots of wounds. I've had some goofy shots and bad shots, but to wound one, to put in the effort and not give up, to not quit, and know that I can do this, and just the country was good enough that I could follow them.
Yep.
The persistence, and to put my tag on that deer and pack that meat out. We just ate a set of backstraps off that deer, like I don't know, probably last Friday.
Yeah.
And I told Peyton, we were sitting there at dinner, I was like, like, this is the best tasting backstrap. Like, that deer, he ended up being probably one of the oldest bucks I've ever shot. He's a horse. I got some pictures on my Instagram of his jaw, and
show me the buck.
The buck. So
if people want to see it, they can go to your Instagram, which is SDavis.
SDavis2506.
Oh, wow.
25 out 6.
25 out 6.
I like that story too.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
That is an awesome.
He's awesome.
Yep.
What a tall buck, man.
That's it. He has like 24-inch main beams, and he's like 26 inches off top of his head.
Wow.
So he's a neat buck, and he's a horse.
He's a neat buck.
Yep.
Yeah, he has that body that just looks ridiculous.
Hey, so there's the first shot. I hit right in front of the shoulder. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look
so
at that white face, man.
I know. He's one of the oldest mule deer I've ever killed. And on public land, I'm thinking he hit that 7-year-old age. Still hit a public land buck like that. Anything you break over that 4 or 5, it's neat. You guys know what it's like.
Yep.
For me, it's not antler size. They don't know how many inches of horn they're carrying on their head. I want an old buck.
Man.
It's interesting. This has happened to me. It's happened to Ryan. I've been on hunts with Ryan. Happened to Brad, where you finally get it done. But it seemed like that there was like 50 times where it could have gone the other way.
Yeah.
And you never got the deer. But you got one glimpse of the tail end just before it went around that corner, and you run to the next top, and then it's like, oh, I bet it's a miracle. It feels like that you saw it. That's why I was asking the next day when you found it. Like, so many guys could go up there and go, he's just gone, right?
Yeah.
But you're 3.5 hours into the glassing, and you're like, no, here he is. All of that persistence, man. And when you walk away, sometimes I was with Lampers once on a deer, and I'm like, it took the two of us with all the skill and and just a track, just like, oh, wait a minute, just some track
Something
we saw. I'm
different.
like, wait a minute, and we were headed all this way, but that one clue put us this way, and the odds that we picked up that one clue were so minimal, it felt like the hand of God was like kind of easing us along, because it just doesn't make sense. There's just the odds of us kind of pulling it out at the end seems like it can't happen. And you get through it, and you're like, it's kind of a little miracle, a little mini miracle. But I come away from those moments, and I go, yeah, but I have a lot of them. And so does Ryan. We all have those. If we have a lot of these little like that, we shouldn't have found that thing, or it shouldn't have finished this way.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what you just said, just never quitting.
Yeah.
Like if you're the person that never quits, look at where you're going to be in life, age 38, age 40, age 50, age. What, Brad? You're like going to turn 35 soon.
I'll be 35.
It's baby. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's all of this, these little things that will come to be, but you just can't quit.
And I kind of want to add, too, and like, because I got to jump off here in a second, but I want to ask you, and kind of ties into this, Sam, I think inspiration is a lot to people as well. So, your background, farm guy, ranch guy, I myself, you've worked on a ranch for a long time.
Yeah.
You had a conversation. I'll let you kind of go over the story, but you had a conversation, and then you took a different endeavor, right?
Yeah, I did.
I kind of want to hear about that.
Yeah, so I was fortunate too. I got out of high school. I got a good job working for just fixing fence for this ranch on the Montana-Wyoming line. And that summer fencing job right out of high school turned into a just shy of 20-year career. I worked for those people. They're a great family. And I worked for them. Two managers were like father figures to me. They're great guys I really looked up to. And this year after I left the hunting summit, I'd actually been talking to my best friend, and now he's my work partner. I'd been talking to him we'd been scheming on some ideas, because there's some that I wanted a little more. I thought there was maybe some more for myself. And it's a hard jump when you've worked somewhere 20 years. You've had that steady paycheck. They take care of you, and the people treated me absolutely amazing. I guided hunters for them 80, 90 days a year. So I was a guide. I was a cowboy. I lived outdoors. Like, I mean, everybody that showed up the ranch, they tell you that you'd be guiding hunters. Like, man, you got the coolest job. And you hear that for a lot of years, and it's like, I really do. And I definitely didn't take it for granted. I lived it up. Every minute I was there, I lived it up. It was a great job, great people. But it was time for me to take a step and step out in the big world and maybe try something for myself. And so, yeah, like literally 2 weeks after I left the hunting summit, I gave my 2-week notice and walked away from a 20-year career. I will say I had a really good talk with Brian Barney. He doesn't even know this. I had a real good talk with Barney just about life and kind of being around just talking to you, that podcast we had with Barney too, and like entrepreneurs and guys that I don't know if I'm an entrepreneur. I mean, I'm out there having it out for myself right now, so I am what it is, but I have my good buddy. He'd been on his own for 6 years, pounding nails, just doing some small projects. And me and him got together, and he's like, man, there's some bigger projects out there. And I was helping him on the side for hunting money and side money. And I walked away from my job of 20 years and started framing houses with him. We got that deal going, picked up a big fencing project, and I'm kind of running that fencing side of things. And he's the mastermind behind the carpentry, and I'm the mastermind behind the fencing. And then I started guiding for another outfitter, changed that up. I only guided 2 weeks this year, and spent more time with my family instead of spending 80 or 90 days guiding hunters. It was super nice. What a difference my fall was this year. So, yeah, it was a huge jump. Now helping Stone Glacier Backpacks. I'm working for those guys. That's why I'm here at the Hunting Summit, helping Stone Glacier. Great group of guys I've worked with for like the last 6-7 years. And Lyle and I had spoke, and he said, yeah, come help us out at the shows. He'd love to have me. And so, yeah, I've been traveling around the shows this winter, helping them. And it's been a wild ride. This last 7 months of my life has been a wild ride. But I found out if you're willing to keep your head down, work hard, stay honest. Don't be someone you're not, and look people in the eye and shake their hand. And I think just do what you came to do and do a good job of whatever you're going to do and not quit. Yeah. And so that's where I'm at, guys.
Taking risk, you don't quit, work hard. Kind of these ingredients that sort of almost, like Barney says, makes you undeniable.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. They can't deny you the
story,
success.
Sam.
I mean, you're just checking all the boxes. You're doing all the things. So no one can deny it to you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I wanted to bring it up because I don't know, it's inspiring to me as well.
Thanks,
man. I got to
man.
jump off. But
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
It's Brad.
Thanks for having me on here.
Tell me about the Buffalo deal.
Oh, man. So it all starts with, like, in Wyoming there's 10 – this is kind of a little bit of a backstory because in Wyoming there's 10 big game species, notable big game species, right? You got your cougar, your pronghorn, whitetail, mule deer, elk. You got your black bear, bighorn sheep, mountain goat, bison, moose, Shiras moose. So there's 10 species, right? Well, as a kid, I killed my whitetail, killed my mule deer, elk, antelope, start stacking all these up, and then I killed a mountain lion. Well, as a kid, too, obviously, I was building preference points this whole time.
Yeah.
I was very lucky. My parents were applying for me. Well, at about the age 30-something, I drew sheep tag. So I killed a bighorn sheep with my bow.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, so, like, that was pretty neat. That hunt was probably going to go down as one of the coolest hunts.
Yeah.
I got out of my top 3. Watching my wife kill her first big giant bull, that's number 1. But then I killed a bighorn sheep in a unit where no one had ever harvested a bighorn sheep in Wyoming. I'm still the first recorded archery kill in that unit, which is pretty neat.
Dude, that takes balls. That takes balls because to do, first of all, you don't get very many sheep tags, if any, in your life.
Yeah, one probably.
And then to say, I'm going to do it with a bow.
Yeah.
You know, that's like another layer of you're removing the sureness of the rifle from the equation.
Yeah.
And you got to do it with the bow. Hopefully you had a lot of days, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
Was it a short window, or was
I
it?
could have taken off. No, it opened August 1st. It was an August 1st opener. Goes till the end of October. But you aren't going to hunt that hunt after about the 5th of October because it's such a high elevation hunt that's why the success rate even with rifle was under 30%. So it was a wild hunt, and
Dang.
I signed up
That's
for it
cool.
because it was the easiest tag to draw. And it's the hardest tag to kill one in, I think, probably one of the hardest units to kill a sheep in, and so it's the easiest tag to draw. So it only
That's
took me 16
badass.
points. And
How old were you then?
that was 2017. So that was
so not very long ago.
33 years old. Yeah, and I'm not bragging. I didn't even know I was the first archery guy until I checked it in at the Game and Fish, and then they didn't put all their data, and that's when I found that out. So
cool.
it was a 9.5-year-old ram. He was the oldest ram to ever come out of that unit and the first archery kill. So
Sam.
that was cool. I feel
yeah.
very, very lucky, fortunate, whatever you want to call it. I killed him on the second day of the season. It was August 2nd when I killed him, and we were out of there. I was home by the 5th of August. So that was a very neat experience. that being said, so then all of a sudden I kind of started looking at these 10 animals to kill with archery equipment. Well, no one's ever done it in the state of Wyoming. No one has ever harvested all 10 with a bow. And so then I killed a Shiras moose 2 years later. I killed a really nice Shiras moose, got my bear. Now I'm sitting at number 8. Well, there's no points. There's no points for mountain goat. There's no points for bison. Well, this last year I drew the bison tag. And so now there's like the pressure of my own goals is I want to kill the Wyoming Big Ten. I don't necessarily be the first, but I would love to kill the Wyoming Big Ten just to say that I did it with because that's all I do is bow hunt. That's literally all I do is bow hunt. When you said the sheep, I didn't even think about it. It's like it's an archery tag to me. Like I don't look at things and be like, oh, can I get 200 yards? Every time I look at an animal, it's like, where's the 40-yard mark? Where is 40 yards from that critter? I don't care how it is. My mind just thinks that way. So it's like for me to even take a gun, like it's not. There's zero. It's zero. It's not in the equation at all.
Doesn't even turn you on.
Exactly. It's like taking a tennis racket to a football game. It's not going to work. And so I drew that bison tag this year, and I was brushing my teeth. And usually they don't get the draw results. They'll come out to 10 o'clock in the morning in Wyoming. I'm brushing my teeth at 4 in the morning before I'm headed to the gym. House is quiet. Family's sleeping. And I pull out my phone while I'm brushing my teeth, and I get an email from Wyoming Game Fish. It says draw results are posted. And then I was like, this is a sign because they've never posted them that early. Open it up, go to the success, and sure enough, it says Wyoming bison, wild bison, type 1 tag successful. I run in the bedroom, wake my wife up at 4 in the morning. I'm shaking, and I was so excited that I drew a tag. Like, I did it. So that being said, along came the summer. It's an August 15th opener, runs till the end of January. A lot of guys wait till snow. They want to hunt them late, all that. I talked to some bow hunter guys that had killed a few with some bows over there. I called guys right away that morning. The couple guys I know that had harvested them with bows over the years. Kind of ran their program, but their program was different because back in those days there was a lot more bison. You know, they tried to whittle down the herd because it got so big. So I'm working with a lot less bison than there used to be, right? I don't think I don't know what the number used to be, but it's substantially smaller. Like they give out less than half the tags they did back when all these guys that I knew. So 250 tags now it's down to like 100 tags, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, we roll over there August 12th. Rolled there. I was with Zach Boughton from Stone Glacier.
Yeah.
My best friend Zach DeWitt and us three rolled in there with 4 head of horses, and we were there for 10, 12, whatever it took. We were going to do this. So it was 15, 16 miles a day horseback that we were riding down through this country. And these bison live in Grand Teton National Park, and you have to wait for them to come off. You have to kill them on the national forest.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's as the biologist would tell you, and some of the outfitters that are here that guide over there that do the bison hunt, they say it's the most frustrating hunt that anybody in the world will ever sign up for because you can see them, but you can't do anything to make them come across the border. They naturally have to cross that border. And there was one outfitter over here telling me he had a guy come back 27 days he spent to kill a bison, ended up killing a cow in the late season. Like,
jeez.
So yeah, it's persistence. And we were over there. So we were over the 13th, 14th. It opened the 15th. 16th, 17th, and 18th, I harvested or killed a big old bull that morning. It was
what was that like?
Unpack
it for me, like
So as the hunt goes on, you would ride down on our horses. You glass. You could literally ride in the boundary, and we're in the mountains. It's not like there's a fence here. This is Grand Teton National Park. There's a white sign on a log, maybe. There's a white sign on a steel post. Every 100 yards to 200 yards, you have to kind of. And no outfitters or anything had been in there. So I'm the first one down in there riding this boundary line, and I'm like cutting the trail through the grass. And so I'm literally, you can see an old existing trail, and it literally goes right down the boundary. Okay. So I started riding this boundary, and it was about a 4-mile swath that you would ride this boundary, look and see, glassing the whole time, keeping the wind right, making see if anything was outside the park, loop back up, and your hunt was kind of done by 10:30 in the morning. You'd kind of exhausted all your resources of where they were. Now you could go around the other parts and go check stuff out, but like where all the bison were that time of year, I was kind of doing the thing.
Yeah.
So first morning I go down in there, there's multiple guys that were in there rifle hunting because it's not like it was a special archery tag. It's any weapon. And so I go down in there. There's an outfitter in there. He's got about 6 people riding with him, 1 hunter. She's a younger gal. And I let them go ahead of us. The first morning I said, sir, I was like, I got a lot of days to go. I was hoping the karma was working on my side. I said, you guys take the trail first. Like, It's all you. Let them go. By the second day, that gal was too sore to ride, so they were out of there. By the second day, there was 3 other groups of rifle hunters in there that hiked in that far. It's about a 4-mile hike in there. They were all done. So then by day 3, we had it to ourselves. And it was awesome. So day 3, there's nobody in there. The bison, we were watching them, and there was a herd of, like, at one time there was 240, 220 head, and we watched them. They'd work their way down into Grand Teton National Park, and they were watering down in there, so it was kind of a no-go. That second to last morning, so not second to last morning, that I
of your hunt.
the morning before I killed that bull, I watched these bison, and they were 250 yards from the boundary. And instead of dropping down to this big reservoir that was like over a mile away, they were coming towards me into a canyon that I couldn't see the bottom of. But they were coming back up, and this one bull was just covered in mud. He was going down there and wallowing, and I was like, there's a spring there. And then all of a sudden, single file, 200 of them dropped down, and they all water. And that morning, they didn't leave. They stayed 200 yards away and just bedded right up on top of the sagebrush. So we watched them. They didn't do any movement. Now, biologists had told me, because they do a lot of movement at night. So the next morning, we go riding down there, same program. That morning, I was excited because when I left them, they were 250 yards from the boundary. We ride up, and you can hear there. So I don't know if you've ever heard buffalo rutting. It is the loudest. Sounds like a lion. Sounds like an African lion roar. And you can hear it from 3/4 of a mile to a mile. You could hear them down in these canyons just roaring at each other, fighting, roaring, and it's intense. Well, what I was told that you're going to be hunting, it's going to be a lot of lone bulls that have pulled off the herd. You're going to be hunting single bulls.
Yeah.
Brian, I rolled down there that morning, and the glassing knoll that we'd been sitting in all week, and it's just breaking down. I'm still on my horse. I'm looking with binoculars. I see a bull bison standing on the point that I've been glassing from, and I look back at the guys, and I was like, they're there, boys. Like, they've crossed. Like, we're good.
That's got to feel so good.
Oh, and the roar is unreal. And so we tie up horses, get the wind right, circle down, and when we get down there, it's unreal. I mean, they're splitting the line. If I'd have been rifle hunting, it would have been over in seconds. Get down there within 150 yards to about 300 yards. There's probably 35 of them or so that are outside of the boundary, and they're working, going through this aspen patch and big aspen trees and big sagebrush. But right where I am, the wind is coming from them to me, kind of off to my right. It's coming out of the south, southeast. There's bison to my west. So I can't just push up to get close to those ones because the ones that are in the park are going to win me. So I kind of just have to dog them. And I got bison literally 35 to 50 yards from me, but they're inside Grand Junction. I can't do anything. And I'm just sneaking along. And they're just milling around, working in and out of the park, in and out of the park. And all of a sudden, I'm watching this bull just work his way through this herd, and he is roaring the whole way. And he's huge bodied bull. And same thing with like mule deer. I'm just looking for a good representation of a bull. I don't know I've been on a lot of buffalo hunts on some of the stuff. I've on some ranches that I've guided on and stuff, but for this, I just want a good representation of a great bull. And I could tell there was a hot cow by me. I'm seeing her tail up, and there's a 2-year-old, 3-year-old bull, and he is just pestering her. And he's only 46 yards away, but they're inside the park. And I watched this big bull just work his way down. And pretty soon he's coming up to me. He's walking right on the trail that I'm standing. He's walking on the boundary trail to me.
Yeah.
And he's sniffed that cow, and he's coming to that cow, and he's roaring. He's pawing in the dirt, knocking other bulls away. And
if you come any closer, how close are you kind of at the limit? If you go any closer, that wind could carry up to the other crew.
So the wind's hit me in the face, but it's hit me kind of almost perpendicular. It's hitting me and it's coming off to this side. And the bison are like where this skull is here. So they're 35 yards out in front of my wind. If I push up any further, these tail end bison are going to catch my wind.
You're just being patient on the edge.
I'm just being patient.
You got as close as you could get without pushing to the point of failure, and you're waiting for something to come to you.
Yes, and I'm out in the open now. I'm out in the wide open sagebrush, and I'm starting to roll over this hill. So I literally it's a little over knee-deep sagebrush, probably thigh-deep sagebrush, and I've ran out of cover. All I had for cover, and I said there was one tree behind me about 40 yards I got in line with, and it's just a big tree, and I've just worked my way up using it as my backdrop, and I'm in open sagebrush, and it is all sagebrush down to this aspen patch. So my next move, if they don't work to me, I'm going to catch them as we drop down into the aspen patch. Luckily for me, there was a hot cow that was working her way up, and that bull sees that 2-year-old pestering her, and he hooks that cow, and when he hooks that cow, she shoots right across the boundary, the trail. Literally the buffalo trail is the boundary, and shoots across out into the brush right in front of me. And I catch a range on her. She's 50 yards, and she's just walking away. And that bull lip curls, and he comes. And he's at fault. And I'm talking to Zach. He's the cameraman. He's right behind me. And I was like, I'm taking him. There were some yellow flowers that I'd seen. I'd rode that boundary for the last 6 days. So I remember this yellow flower patch. What was in the park? What was in it, right? As soon as he crossed those, he says, when he goes by those yellow flowers, I was like, he's game on. I came to full draw. Right as he crossed that, he stopped right at the back of that cow. I probably waited a half a second. Joel Turner would not have been impressed. I punched that trigger right where I wanted that pin to sit.
Yeah.
And 60-yard shot, and that arrow was clean past it. Blew through that bison. He didn't even know he was hit. All he did is tuck his tail, and he started walking slowly. The cow blew out. So my peripheral, I see the cow blow out, knock an arrow, come to full draw again, shoot again, and that time I hit about 6 inches high. I hit on my 70 pin. I don't shoot a slider.
Yeah.
I put my 70 pin on him because I had just seen him moving, and I put 4 inches high, but I cut that shoulder on that one. people say, like, that arrow hurt that buffalo. When it hit him hard. He spun a half circle. He only went about 6 steps, spun a half circle, faced me. In less than a minute, he was down. Right there. Done.
Yeah.
And it just went quiet, except for me. I was pretty excited to watch that. And he died 8 feet from the boundary. 8 feet from the line.
What was the broadhead you were using?
Grim Reaper Pro Series mechanical.
Really?
3-blade.
What was the logic behind that? Like what?
I had, so this is funny you asked this. So I had built that PSE Omen. It's an 80-pound PSE Omen. I shot it up at, no, I wasn't able to shoot it up the Western Hunting Summit because I hadn't released it yet, but I was getting it, I was shooting it. I built it with a 540 grain arrow. First time I'd ever messed with my arrow setup since 2009. I've shot the same exact arrow. This year for this bison hunt, I built a 540 grain arrow, shooting the Grim Reaper Micro Hades 3-blade fixed blade. I got it to tune at 303 feet per second. It was driving tax. It was shooting good. We got to the hunt, and Zach Bowden, it's so funny because he was watching me screw broadheads on.
Yeah.
And I put 2 fixed blades in, and the rest of my quiver, my 7-arrow tight spot, 5 arrows were mechanicals. And he watched me do that 3rd arrow, put that mechanical on. I've shot that broadhead, not the Pro Series, but the Grim Reaper mechanical I've shot since 2009. Every critter I've killed is with that broadhead. So my confidence level is high with it. It's what I've used.
Interesting.
And that whole group of guys I told you about earlier, it's all we've used. So you look at all the critters killed between a big number of successful hunts that came down to that broadhead. When it came to that bison, at 60 yards, I know that I can probably hit a tennis ball at 60 yards with that mechanical. I know I can hit a tennis ball.
Yeah.
And I reached into my quiver at that distance, and I grabbed that arrow, and that's the broadhead that I went with, and it blew. So that 540 grain arrow with that mechanical flying at 300 some feet per second, zipped through him like there was nothing. When that second one hit him in the scapula, it broke that scapula. I had probably almost you'll see in the video, it almost has a foot penetration where that arrow broke through the top of a buffalo scapula into him, that mechanical. And not saying it got in there and was super vital, but it hurt him bad. I was up in that no man's zone anyways on a bison, but.
So is there a video?
Yeah, so Stone Glacier filmed this whole thing, and the hunt will be.
Did they put it out?
Not yet. It'll be coming out in March.
Okay. I'm like, dude, I watch everything. Did I miss something?
It comes out in March.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Sweet. I am looking forward to that.
So all that being said, he ended up being like a 13-and-a-half, 14-year-old bull. He ended up being a dinosaur. I mean, I was very lucky to get the one that I did.
You weren't even like he was just like, you knew he was mature?
He was a mature. He pushed every bull out of the way on the way to me.
How
it was
cool,
like watching
man.
a bull elk, a herd bull just come through
Sam,
the herd.
you must be doing something right because that is a blessing. Like, that is just the coolest thing.
I feel like I said, I feel fortunate, man. The hunting gods were looking down on me that day because I live for it. And you've heard me talk. I love the bow hunt more than anything. Like, it drives me.
That's inspiring. I just got back from Mexico with Ryan.
Yeah.
And we went up there and hunted coos. And, I've been thinking in my mind, 'cause I hunted with bows almost my whole life until I started hunting with Ryan a lot. Okay. And I've done a lot more rifle hunting over the years than I used to. Mm-hmm. And I'm passionate about archery and archery hunting, and I wanted to do more of that. But when I look at a hunt, I always am like, okay, how would this stack up as an archery hunt?
Yeah.
Instead of a bow hunt, or instead of a rifle hunt. And up there, I was like, man, how would I approach these deer? How would I approach a Coues deer buck? Like, some of these we got into some big bucks.
Yeah.
And we took days to kill them with a rifle. But so we sat there looking at them day after day because we're trying to get a nice, solid, close shot and stuff. Yeah. And you're observing what they're doing. Man, I just keep thinking, man, I got to go do that with a bow. I just have to go do it with a bow. But I don't want to just sit over water. No. Yeah. I want to figure out a way to like spot and stalk and be active on it. But I'm looking forward to this. I have a few bow hunts this year. I'm gonna go bow hunt with Pedro.
How are you?
Mule deer.
Nice.
Got a plan for some late season mule deer with a bow, and so we'll do that elk always. Looking forward to it, but it's inspiring to hear your stories. Makes me go, man, I gotta elevate. I gotta get after it. Gotta get that bow out. I gotta put in the hours and get undeniable. So thank you for coming on the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me,
really
Brian. It's
appreciate it.
good to catch up.
Yeah,
It's
man.
a busy place, I'll tell you what.
It is a little bit crazy. Western Hunt Expo. It's the last hours. It's winding down. There is no, it's Mountain Ops isn't here today, so there's no rock concert going on.
Yeah.
So this podcast thing's a little easier to do.
I bet it is for you.
It was a little loud.
Oh, man. This place was
last few
hopping
days.
yesterday. Yes.
So
Yeah.
anyway, thank you, brother. Folks, if you want to get in touch, see what Sam's up to. Sam, where can they find you?
I'm pretty much just on Instagram at sdavis2506, and that's my Instagram handle. And I got a Predators Never Quit YouTube channel, but now that I've been fortunate enough to do some filming with some guys, I don't put a whole lot of time into my own YouTube stuff. So.
And we can look forward to a film.
Yeah, Stone Glacier.
More than one, or just?
Yeah, Stone Glacier did. They did a hunt. They released a hunt last year that I did, a backcountry mule deer hunt last year, and they put that up. So that's on Stone Glacier's YouTube channel. I have a bow hunt, archery mule deer hunt on that, and then this year I'll be having the bison hunt coming out. So
Yep, that's right. You got those 2 hunts.
I'm excited for this one.
Looking forward to that then, and then if folks want to ask you, reach out to you, learn some stuff from you. You get into the DMs that much, or
I like it. I like helping people out because I think I don't know a whole lot, but if someone does have a question that I could help them out on, for sure, I'll hit me up. I'm not Mr. Super Popular. I don't even have that many followers. So
are you going to be at the Western Hunting Summit?
Yeah, Lampers and I were talking about that. We're trying to get some dates. Maybe the second one. The first one, I think my wife's got a big race. She's running the Bighorn Mountain race, so she's going to be in that. So I think that's going to take up that weekend. So probably the next weekend, I think we'll probably make it. But
cool. I'll be there. Hopefully we see
yes.
if you can make it. Enjoyed it so much last time.
That was fun.
Anyway, thanks. Appreciate you, brother.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me on.
Stay gritty, folks.